Well, happy Monday, everybody. I am here for the Monday Mindset with my friend and colleague, Kevin DeShazo. Welcome, Kevin.
Good morning, Tracy. Excited to kick things off on another Monday.
Great. Well, for those of you who were with us last week, we had Jeremy Kubicek, which will be the norm. So normally Jeremy will be here helping with the Monday Mindset, and Kevin will kind of be hosting, and they do that together. However, today Jeremy had a big client meeting and had some other things, so that's why I'm here hosting. And I've got Kevin with me. Kevin, for those who missed it last week, will you kind of introduce who you are and what your niche is here at Giant?
Yeah, so Kevin DeShazo, officially the Monday Mindset B team with you this morning. I help run Giant's sports division called Culture Wins. And so I spend majority of my time on campus with leaders in the sports world, collegiate, high school, pro, dabble in some other areas as well, education, some other sectors, but I spend most of my days with leaders in the sports world, helping them create healthier leadership and as a result, healthier culture and better long-term results.
Awesome. So mindset is a big deal to you. I see it in you every day, and it's amazing to watch. And so you are an expert when it comes to mindset. So I know you have a lot to offer today, and I can't wait to hear about it. I'm gonna selfishly, or not selfishly, but just because I like you, I'm gonna plug a book of yours. Kevin just wrote the coolest book. Do you see how thin it is? This is what I think I love about it, is because we're all really busy, and reading the big books is kind of like off my thing, my radar these days. I'm an audiobook person, but this is bite size. You can digest it in an afternoon or a morning. And it's actually really cool in that you can share this with kiddos all the way up to CEOs of companies are using this book. So we'll talk about it in a bit, but it's called Keep Chopping Wood. I'll tell you more about that. But if you're joining us today, obviously you are joining us or you wouldn't be here, but let us know that you're here. Lots of people are giving us a shout out all the way from Virginia to Fort Worth, New Mexico, all over. So thank you for coming. And just a reminder that we're starting a lot of new live streams these days. So you'll catch us all throughout the week. I know people are busy. You're working there during the week, but we have some opportunities of different subject matters, different live streams that you can participate in. So every Monday you can catch us here. But then on Tuesdays, my colleague Chris Ediger and I, we have a coaching consulting type of theme that we do. You want to catch our CEO Bronson and our president on Thursdays, and then coming in September we'll have even more with our founders and who knows. So just keep staying tuned. And if you're on the Giant platform on Ascend, you'll see the banner at the top will announce each week what live streams are available, and whenever we finish a live stream, the next one will be announced. So that's kind of how that works. So Kevin, let's jump into mindset this morning. Tell us what you're thinking. Teach us something today.
Yeah, so I want to talk about the book, not to promote it necessarily, but to give you some insight into the mindset behind what it means to keep chopping wood. And so I'm an expert in lumberjacking. So I bring my decades of experience from the woods. That's not true. I've never chopped down a tree in my life, but I did some studying back in January on this idea of chopping wood. And what I found out is that if you want to, if it's cold, right, it's the middle of winter and you have a wood burning fireplace and you want to warm your house, and you go out back to your rack of wood to put in the fireplace. Well, that wood is not new wood. That wood is not fresh wood. You didn't chop wood that morning to put in your fireplace that evening, because if you did, there'd be damage. Right, that wood is not seasoned, it's not ready, it's not useful. It's going to be wet. It may not feel wet, but wood is typically wet. And when you put that in your fireplace, it's just going to get really smoky. It's probably going to damage your fireplace. And in fact, it may just burn down your whole house. So it's going to do some significant damage that you were not anticipating, and all you wanted was to keep warm. What I found out when it comes to chopping wood is that the wood that you're going to use in your fire today was actually chopped 9 to 12 months ago. Because wood takes 9 to 12 months to dry out, to season, to be ready, to be useful for the fire. And so what that means is that somebody was out chopping that wood 9 months ago, 12 months ago, knowing that it's not going to be used today. right? Knowing that that work isn't really going to pay off today. They're working today for this future vision, for this future idea, for this future hope, this future reality that they want to create. So if they want to have wood for their fireplace in the winter, they have to chop wood in the spring. And so they go out each day and they chop the wood and they chop the wood and they chop the wood. And when it gets to winter, they're ready. They have fuel for the fireplace. And so what that means for us is that I'm going to hope that you have a vision, right? You have a desired reality that you want to create, whether that's for you as an individual, maybe it's for your family, maybe it's for your team and your organization, maybe all of those things. You have a vision that you are pursuing, that you are running after. And so number one, you have to believe in that vision, right? Because if you don't believe in it, you're never actually going to put in the work to pursue it. Belief drives us forward, right? If we're full of doubt, it's too difficult, it's too hard, it's too big, I'm not good enough. At the first sign of adversity, we're going to look for an off-ramp. Say, no, I don't want to do this. It's too difficult. But if you believe in it, and you believe in that vision, you believe in yourself, you believe in the people around you, then you commit. And you show up each day and you remember that purpose, you remember that why, and you keep going. So number one, you have to have that vision. The second thing you have to do then is commit to that vision. Say, if I'm here, I'm trying to get here. So I've got to acknowledge my starting place to say this vision is somewhere in the future, but I'm starting here. Well, there's a process to get from here to here. Maybe that's losing weight, right? You don't go into the gym and lose 40 pounds tomorrow. Right? You don't get healthy overnight. We live in this drive-through culture. I could drive through on the way to the office and get money out of the bank. I can get my medicine. I can get food. I can get clothes from the dry cleaners. I mean, I ordered a car from my couch on my phone and had it delivered to my house. So we live in this convenient, instant gratification culture, but that's not how anything worthwhile really works. And so to realize that this vision you're pursuing, there's a process to get there. So you have to commit to the process, and then you show up each day and you keep chopping wood. Say, this is where I want to be. This is the process to get there. I've got to show up each day and do the work. I've got to show up each day at the gym. I've got to show up each day and eat the right way. I've got to show up each day and make changes in my daily habits to become the right kind of leader. Because what I believe is that every team, every individual, every organization at some point will face adversity. Doesn't matter how good your culture is, how great your leadership is, you will face adversity. And too often that fire hits, that adversity hits, and leaders say, guys, we got to stick together. We got to be a team. Everyone's like, team, we're not. He's out for number one. She's out for number one. So I'm out for number one. We're not a team. What are you talking about? And you crumble, right? You crumble under that pressure. You weren't ready for the fire of that adversity because you didn't chop wood as a team, right? It's about building relationships. It's about building trust. It's about building a culture that will overcome the obstacles that you're going to face. But it's also true for your own talents, right? For yourself, for your craft, for your skills. You have to do the things today. So when you get into the fire, like let's use a pitcher, for example, in baseball. If they've not prepared, they're going to get into a moment in a game and they're standing on the mound and they're hoping that batter swings at terrible pitches, right? It's like, oh gosh, I'm not ready. I didn't prepare the way. I'm not disciplined enough. I hope this guy swings because if I get it across the plate, it's going to be lucky, right? Because you didn't chop wood. You weren't prepared for that moment. Now you show up in the spring. That's why you have spring training, right? You do the work. You prepare for the moment so that you're prepared in the moment. So that when you get there, you walk up there with confidence, say, this is exactly where I want to be. This is where I hoped and expected to be. I've worked for this and I'm ready. And that doesn't guarantee any outcomes, right? So I don't want to paint this picture. The book is about achieving success. Success isn't always guaranteed, right? We can't guarantee outcomes. There's so many things out of our control, but success is about the kind of person you're becoming along the way. Are you the kind of person who shows up when it's difficult? Are you the kind of person that shows up when there are obstacles in your way? When your vision is so far in the future, do you keep showing up? Because progress is a process and it takes a lot of time. And so we get really, really frustrated and beaten down when it feels like we're not making fast enough progress. Our pace isn't what we want it to be. I'd say look back at where you started from, right? Celebrate the progress that you've actually made instead of being frustrated with how far you have left to go. But it's this mindset of showing up, this mindset of consistency, and the idea that greatness is actually boring, right? We want the titles, we want the glory, we want the awards. It's like you don't get that by just showing up. You get that by doing the work each day.
That's great, Kevin. So just not to put you on the spot, but You teach this all the time to teams all over the United States. You preach this, I see you do it, but what is your secret sauce? Like what do you do to set your mindset, maybe in the mornings, or is it the night before? What's your mode?
Yep, great question. And I, mindset is it. This is the Monday Mindset live stream, but mindset is, I think, the greatest battle that we face. Right, most of life is a mental battle before it's any other kind of battle, and so the way that our mind is set determines how we approach each day, determines how we approach conversations, our work, frustrations, and so for me, I'm not a big routine guy, but I do have a morning routine, and it's something I've been really disciplined with over the past several years because we talk about this all the time. I wanted to be intentional with my mindset, not accidental. Now, you're not just going to wake up with a good mindset on accident. It doesn't happen. It's a muscle that you have to work out, and the more that you work it out, the stronger that it gets. And so I want to be consistently renewing my mindset so I'm in a better mental place, so I can be my best at work, be my best with my family, be my best when I'm on site with teams. And so I've got a morning routine, and it's short. So, we hear about morning routines a lot. It's like, oh my gosh, I've got to wake up at 3 o'clock and climb a mountain and race a lion and all. No, wake up, whatever time works for you, and have a set amount of time. It could be 5 minutes, could be 15 minutes, could be an hour, right? Whatever works for you, where you are pouring into yourself. You are setting your mind for the day. And so for me, and I talk about this in the book, I've created an identity statement. It's not paragraphs, it's not an essay, it's like 3 or 4 sentences that remind me who I am and what I'm here for, what I'm about, the work that I'm doing. Because as I go throughout the day, there's a lot of messages that the world is trying to tell me who I need to be or who I should be, but I've got to live out who I actually am. And so I've got this short identity statement. It's on the Notes app on my iPhone. And I start each day by reading that to remind, hey, this is who you are. Go be this today. This is what you've signed up for. This is who you were created to be. Go live that with purpose and with confidence. Because otherwise, I'm not going to do it, right? I'm just going to get distracted by all the demands of the day. And so I've made that morning routine where I sit and read for a bit, and then I look at that identity statement to get me in the right mindset. Now today, I've started something new. So I'm not going to declare this a habit yet because I'm one day in, but I've started every morning now. I'm adding where I'm going to write down 10 things that I'm grateful for, because I want to start the day with gratitude, right? If I want to be positive, if I want to be joyful, if I want to be purposeful, that's going to come from a place of gratitude, not from a place of stress. And so I don't want to wake up thinking about all the work that I have to do or all the problems of the day. I want to wake up and say, here are 10 things that I'm grateful for. So I start the day with that good energy.
Great. Yeah. So if you all watching, if you have a routine, we'd just really be interested to know what it is, what your secret is. Kevin, the other day we were talking and you were sharing this really neat story I'd love for you to share with everyone. It was about some kind of a coach out there that helps, what are they called? Ultra marathoners. So those people that don't just go for it and run a marathon, but they do like the 50, 60, 70 mile type of runs. Tell everybody that story. I thought it was fascinating.
Yeah, so this story, heard it about 2 months ago, and I've shared it with every leader, every team that I've spoken to over the past 2 months. It's been that significant for me, and it fits in with this idea of chopping wood and mindset and the power of belief. So this guy, Jesse Itzler, he's co-owner of the Atlanta Hawks, an NBA franchise, and he was training for a 50-mile, it's a race called the Last Man Standing. And it's this idea where it's like a 4-mile loop, and you have to run it in under an hour, and then you do it again, and then you do it again, and you do it again, and eventually people start quitting, right? Because after 24 hours, that 4-mile loop in an hour gets really, really difficult. And so he and this former NFL player were training, and they kept maxing out at 38 miles. And they were saying it out loud, like, 38's our max. That's all we've got. And so they found this guy who's a former Navy SEAL. They listened to him on a podcast, and he had taken a guy from 5 miles to 100 miles. And so they said, he just 20X'd that guy. Like, I want him to 20X my life, my fitness, my finances, my family, my business. Like, I need him to 20X my life. So they flew him out for the weekend, and he said, I'll fix you guys in 2 days. In 2 days, we're gonna change everything. They're like, okay, that's a bold claim, game on. So night one, they just hung out and told stories, and the guy gave no advice. And his friends are texting like, hey, what'd you learn? Like, what'd he say? He was like, I didn't learn anything. Like, they gave us no information. So the guy says, we start tomorrow morning at 0500. I'll meet you in the kitchen at 4:45. It's like, all right, this is it. So they get to the kitchen, 4:45. Says, guys, today you're going to shatter your personal best. You're going to run farther than you've ever run in your life. And we're only going to do 3 things. Number 1, said you're not going to give your pain a voice. So when you're out there running, you're going to hurt. We're going long distances. And instead of talking about how sore you are, how tired you are, that somebody else should be doing this, that you're not good enough, it's like, no, you're not going to give your pain a voice. So every time I see you, I'm going to ask you, how are you doing? You're going to say, I feel outstanding. He goes, I know it sounds hokey. I know it sounds ridiculous, but you're going to tell me that you feel outstanding. He said, rule number 2, no negative self-talk. You're not going to be out there saying, I'm not good enough. I don't have what it takes. Somebody else should be doing this. This is too hard. This is awful. I hate it. No negative talk. He said, instead, every time you do a loop, you're going to tell me one thing that you're grateful for. He said, the last thing is we're not going to die in the chair, which basically don't live life on the sidelines, right? Get in the game. Don't be a spectator. He said, those are the 3 rules. They're like, wait a minute. Like, do I need to change my cadence? Like, do I need to maybe some nutritional tips? Like, that's it. He said that day they blew through 38 miles, blew through 50 miles. His running partner doubled his personal best. And they changed nothing except their mindset. Right? Their fitness was the same as it was the day before, the week before, the month before. It's only their mindset. And they went further than they'd ever run before. So fast forward 30 days later. Now Jesse is doing a 100-mile race with Chad, the coach. So again, couldn't get past 38 days. 30 days later, he's doing a 100-mile ultra marathon. Again, these guys it's the crazy of the crazy. 75 miles in, he's struggling. He's limping. And he gets up to Jesse, and Jesse's like, hey, man, you know what's crazy? He said, I don't get tired. Is that not the wildest thing you've ever? He's like, I don't get tired. That's my secret. I don't get tired. And he's like, okay, great. He's like, you know what? You don't get tired either. He's like, no, I'm tired. He's like, no, you're not. You don't get tired. We don't get tired. I want to hear you say it. He's like, fine, I don't get tired. He's like, no, tell me like you mean it. He said, I don't get tired. He goes, that's right. We don't get tired. He goes, we're going to walk. There's a med tent, quarter mile that way. We're going to walk over there, get our Gatorade, get our snacks. And we're going to look those volunteer workers in the eye and say, guys, you don't know our secret? It's the craziest thing you've ever heard. We don't get tired. He goes, and then we're going to finish this race. Sure enough, they walked down, got their Gatorade, their snacks, looked at the volunteer workers in the eye, told them their secret. The volunteer workers looked at them like, you guys are, like, we see a lot of crazy because it's a 100-mile race, but you guys are a different level of crazy. They said, that's right. And they went and they finished the last 25 miles. He said every 3 minutes for the last 25 miles, they just yelled out, we don't get tired. The point again is it's mindset, right? Because like we're going to face obstacles. We're going to face challenges. And I will tell you this, if you are listening to this, you have overcome every obstacle that you have ever faced in your entire life. That's who you are. You've overcome everything that you've ever faced. And it may not have looked the way you wanted it to look. It may not have looked the way that you thought it was going to look, but you are here because you overcome everything. So instead of talking down to yourself, instead of calling yourself out, call yourself up. Say, no, this is who I am. I don't get tired. I feel outstanding. I'm grateful for this. We have to get in the right mindset if we want to unlock our potential.
That's great. I love that. You know, it might be a great exercise just to kind of list those things that you've overcome. Because I think we forget, you know, we easily forget things that have been hard in our life, and then we just focus on what's hard now, and we forget that we've made it through a lot. And it'd be a great exercise just to remind ourselves, hey, I've made it this far. I can keep doing this. So that's great. Well, a few people have responded in the chat. I just wanted to share with you, Kevin, some of them. Well, first of all, Eric said, you got to love the monotony of the process. And it's true. It is a monotonous process day in and day out to be a disciplined person and to discipline your mind, but that's just part of it. It's just one step at a time, right? Every day. And then Martin, he must be a man of faith. He says that he goes through the verse in his mind that I can do all things through him who strengthens me. So that's awesome. And then Joanna, go ahead.
Go ahead. You're good.
Oh, I just said Joanna journals in the morning, and she includes 3 things that she's grateful for and 1 thing she's grateful for in the last 24 hours. And I think that's a great key right there.
That's huge. And to some of those other points, there's this phrase, right? If you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. And that's so unhealthy. That's such a burden on you. Like, work is work. Right? You have to love the process. Right? Like, you know, before the pandemic hit, I traveled all the time, spoke to teams around the country. And I love that part. I don't love 3 a.m. wake up calls. I don't love being in airports for 8 or 9 hours a day, but I love the impact, right? So you don't have to love the process, but you love the thing that you're working toward, and you love who you're becoming along the way. And it's this mindset of like, whatever my circumstances, I'm a person who shows up and commits, right? I'm not defined by how difficult things are and giving up. It's like, no, I'm going this direction. And if that's where I want to be, then that demands something of me today. And if I'm going to speak it, then I've got to actually then in turn live it.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Well, can we go back to your book for a minute? Because I want people to know about this. First of all, you can get this on Amazon easily, but you can also go to keepchoppingwood.com. But this little book, how are people using this book when it comes to mindset?
It has been so fun. You create something and you hope that it's good. You hope someone more than your mom likes it, right? Like that people buy into it and it resonates. It's been so fun to get messages from leaders and teams from not just sports, from hospitals, from oil and gas companies, from real estate companies, from schools, all these different organizations who have said, this is what we need. This is the exact message we needed at the right time. I've got a number of schools who have made Keep Chopping Wood kind of their theme for the season. And so they've made their own axes to say that maybe the school name or Keep Chopping Wood to remind them of the process along the way. But the nice thing with the book is that it's not just, hey, it's short, right? We mentioned this earlier. I don't have a huge attention span. You can read it in 30 minutes. That's how short it is. But it's not just a book, it's also a field guide. So there are a number of exercises within the book that you can do as an individual or with your team to actually start to implement this process and this idea and this mindset of Keep Chopping Wood. So it's more than just information transfer. It's actually got a way for you to practically implement this into your life. And so it's been really fun to see teams actually start to do that.
That's cool. So you're a dad of 3 boys. I'm actually a mom of 3 boys as well. Mine are way older than yours. Mine are adults now. But tell us how many boys you have, and then how has this little book impacted them, and do you use it just in your home?
Yeah, so I've got, like I said, 3 boys, 11. One is going to be 9 here in about a month, and then a 4-year-old. And so our house is not quiet and it's not boring. But when the book came out, I read it to my boys. We made it a nighttime kind of reading thing for about a week. So we did a chapter a night. And it's been really fun to see them get it, right? Because I didn't write it for kids. I just wrote it for leaders and for teams. But I have story after story of dads using it with their sons, moms using it with their daughters. And it's been fascinating to see it resonate with kids. And it's just a reminder to them of, my kids play sports. And so we've been able to kind of implement this mindset with them of, hey, if you want to do this, you've got to do this. If you want to play this sport, you've got to practice like this. If you want to do this well in school, you have to do your homework like this. And so we were practicing football one night with my 2 oldest. And one of them said, Dad, this is kind of like chopping wood, right? I said, that's exactly what we're doing. We're chopping wood, right? If you want to be ready for the game, you've got to practice when nobody's around, right? You don't just stroll out and catch touchdowns or run for touchdowns or throw touchdowns. Like you've got to do the work. You have to prepare. It doesn't have to be fun. You may not love it all the time, but this is what work looks like, is you commit to something and then you show up. And so it's been really fun to instill this value of hard work in them at a young age, but with a phrase that they think is fun.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I can see that resonating with my boys when they were young, but I can also see it with just about anybody. I mean, companies are using this. It's really, really great to see. So just curious if anybody's like, that's something I'd love to help with, I guess, with Kevin. How can people get a hold of you?
Yeah, so my email is running across the screen. I'm happy to break down the concepts of the book, happy to talk to your team. I know Tracy put up the link earlier. There are some bulk order bonuses. So if you order for your team or your organization, which again has been so fun to see teams order a couple hundred copies for their leaders or for their whole organization. But there are some bonuses that you get if you do the bulk order. Again, those are at keepchoppingwood.com. If you have any questions, I'm always happy to have a conversation. Shoot me an email and we can chat.
Yeah. Hey, before we go, you may have more too, but Jen here on the chat, I want to read this because it's pretty powerful. She's saying, here's her morning routine. Drinking her multivitamins with a glass of water. She leaves next to her bed. Atomic habits tactic, making it easy. Then she says, good morning, and excited to see all the gifts and surprises in store for me today. I guess she says this out loud, which is kind of cool. Then she journals, reads something motivating, jots down 3 things that she's looking forward to today. Then she imagines her best day yet and pulls out a list of declarations and says maybe 50 to 100 declarations out loud so she hears her own voice. Then she does 20 to 30-minute workout. And then I go with she said, then I go on with my day. And I'm not messing with Jen. She's got it going on. Like she's covered. And then
Jen is going to change the world.
I know. She says, oh yeah, I make it a point to send a note to at least 3 people around the world to encourage them. That's incredible. You know, you were saying earlier that people need to know, I don't know that you said the words, but we use it a lot here. People need to know that you are for them, right? And that's a mindset you have to put on every day, is that it's not about you. The world's not revolving around you, that you're out there to liberate other people. You're for them. I think that's pretty key.
Absolutely. And to go back to Jen's point, and for some people, they're thinking that's extreme. Sure, that's what works for Jen, right? And you can dismiss all, oh, that's cheesy, that's weird, that's hokey. I would say, what's the alternative? Right? Like we're not going to get better on accident. We're not going to have that great mindset on accident. It requires us implementing some new behaviors, some new habits. If the old way isn't working, we've got to try something new. And we usually label something as cheesy or weird so that we don't have to do it. But you'll sit here a year from now without having changed anything, and things aren't going to be better. So you can make some small changes to your mindset, make some small changes to your routine, and I will guarantee you will see the benefits. I'm not saying you're going to make $1 million more next year, have a bigger house or a fancier car. That's not the point. Success is about impact. It's about influence. And you nailed it. Like this mindset thing, it's not just for you, right? It's about you multiplying that into other people. You can't give what you don't possess. So if you don't have a healthy mindset, you're not going to multiply a healthy mindset into your team, into your family, into your organization. And as leaders, we have to be at our best, especially in times like right now of extreme adversity. We have to be at our best. We have to be in the right mindset so that we can make sure that our teams are in the right mindset and our families are in the right mindset. And that's not going to happen on accident. So the challenge is, what are you going to do today to start down a new path? What habits do you need to start? Maybe what habits do you need to stop? And they don't have to be big, extreme things, right? Start small. But as you start small, you can start growing into bigger things. And I will guarantee you that you will see the benefits of a healthier mindset.
I love it. That's great. Man, I'm inspired. Thanks, Kevin.
Absolutely.
Yeah, again, you guys pick up the little book. It's really worth the read, and then pass it along to somebody else. Also, just pass along just the word that we have these live streams going on. We love when you join us on Mondays and any other day that you have time. So let us know always how you feel about them. If there's anything in particular that you want to hear about, we'd love to help meet your needs. So I hope you have a great Monday and a great rest of the week. Thanks again, Kevin. And as always, we'll keep the live stream going. So even when we end this broadcast, if you have something you want to chat about or a question or any comments, feel free to continue to put those in the live chat, and we'll be reading those. So thanks, you guys. See you soon.